Welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the official podcast of everythingaction.com.
Hello and welcome to the Everything Actioncast, the podcast for the week of May 22nd, 2023. I'm your host, Zach.
And I'm your co-host, Chris.
And we got a bunch of stuff this week. Let's get started. But unfortunately, we have to get started with some sad news. We lost several people since the last podcast. Several famous people. It was kind of like one after the. It was like bam. It was just like one after the other, just like multiple blows all week.
Couldn't comprehend it.
Yeah. So I think right after we recorded last week, we learned that Jim Brown had passed away. Who, obviously NFL Hall of Famer for the Cleveland Browns, but then I think became easily like one of the best like athletes turned actors of all time. I mean, his acting career was like just as good as like his like football career. Like he was in like so many great things and was like stuff we love, like The Running Man, Fireball and the Running Man, Byron Williams and Mars Attacks, punching out Martians.
I mean, I loved him in Cleveland show as like Cleveland's dad.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of like a fun nod.
Small Soldiers, he was Butch Meathook, because basically Small Soldiers, like the Commando Elite were basically the Dirty Dozen, which Jim Brown was also, that was like his first big acting role, was the Dirty Dozen.
I never connected that. That's basically who they are.
Yeah, they basically everyone who's still around from the Dirty Dozen like were the Commando Elite plus Tommy Lee Jones. But he was in Ice Station Zebra. He was in like a lot of like Western, like these like 70s kind of like blaxploitation westerns and like blaxploitation movies. He was in a movie that I think at some point we need to watch, Chris. L.A. Heat. We've seen the trailer for that like a couple times. Yeah. He was the captain in L.A. Heat. He was in Killing American Style, which I think was like a Red Letter Media like best of the worst classic. He got Game, Any Given Sunday. And then his last.
You know what's interesting? He wasn't in a lot of like sports movies.
Yeah, like it was like definitely like you would think he'd be in more like football movies and like Coach or whatever. But yeah, he was. It was like a couple like it was far in between for like actual like a movie about sports or about football or something. Although the last movie he was in was Draft Day.
That's his last official
as like himself, yeah.
Yeah, but playing himself is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. You have Jim Brown. You're making a sports movie. It was bound to happen.
But we also lost Ray Stevenson this past week as well, which was just totally shocking. I mean, I feel like we were like gearing up for him to be like on like the interview trail for like Ahsoka and stuff in a couple months, but this is like a Lance Reddick style of just sudden, like just all of a sudden just like, oh, he like Ray Stevenson died, like
they just passed away, like from what?
But I mean, also someone who's in just a ton of stuff that we love, and just like I think, and also it was always just like if Ray Stevenson was in it, it's like, oh, now it's like I'm even if like everything else about this is like not that great, like Ray Stevenson's here to like do something cool.
Yeah, it definitely if it needed an action movie and you needed a charming villain, Ray Stevenson was like it. Or if you needed just sort of like a stoic, tough looking guy, Ray Stevens would just fill that role.
Yeah.
Except when it was weird to see him in Thor as like the comic relief.
Yes, he was Volstagg, one of the Warriors 3, who I believe canonically are dead because Thanos killed them or something like forget what happened to them, or
it was before Thanos. So he got killed by
Hela or the Executioner.
Hela,
yeah.
Yeah, he died by Hela. So there's just no However, like diversion in the timeline.
But I mean, yep. I mean, Punisher Warzone is a huge one.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I really like noticed him.
Well,
I
that
know
was,
he was more famous from Rome, but
Rome was definitely was his first big like American like I'm on an HBO show. I think like King Arthur was like his first big like Hollywood movie. I think the
yeah,
2004 Clive Owen movie.
that's
Yeah,
true.
and then
I saw that in theaters.
shortly after that he was the Punisher, and then he was in just a bunch of like big blockbuster action genre stuff. Book of Eli, the Three Musketeers, like Paul W. Anderson's Three Musketeers,
Fever
like,
Dream, Three Musketeers.
steampunk craziness. G.I. Joe Retaliation, is Firefly.
Yeah, I forgot he was in that. But I still remember him for the other guys
Yes.
as this charming like mercenary dude.
Mm-hmm. He was in all the like Divergent movies, like all that series.
Couldn't tell you what happens in it.
No, I've never seen those. The Accident Man movies, like the Scott Adkins Accident Man movies. He was Big Ray. He was like he was great in both those. And then last year, I mean RRR, one of the biggest movies of the year. He was like the main bad guy, the main villain, like crazy over the top British villain. And then also Star Wars. I mean, he was Gar Saxon on Clone Wars, and I think also Rebels. And then he's gonna be in Ahsoka. That's gonna be like his last role, basically, is Baylan Skoll.
I wonder if he was like, I mean, he must have like not disclosed his illness or anything because it seemed like he was just like fine. You know, he was
I
like
mean,
an actor who.
I was,
Well,
they really, yeah, they haven't said what what he died from, but I mean, it could have just been like one of those crazy like aneurysms or what, like just one of those freak things that happens.
Yeah. Yo, he, you know, did a whole bunch of Mountain Dew and then like I don't know, took like the wrong kind of headache medicine.
Yeah, I mean, he's only 58, so I mean, he
I
was.
know, that was like the scary thing. It was just like what? Like Lance Reddick when he died, it was like kind of like wait what? Like he's only 58 too. Like he was
Yeah.
relatively good shape. He relatively like kind of didn't do a lot of crazy things.
Hmm.
Like unexpected. I mean, I think the list of people we're talking about is just kind of either unexpected or just like wow, like we kind of didn't know what was up with them.
Yeah, and then the last person we lost this week was Tina Turner, the legend Tina Turner, who apparently had been kind of battling a long illness and passed away earlier this week at age 83.
Also, did not know Tina Turner was 83.
Mm-hmm.
That like I looked at the number, I was like, are you what? Well, that was surprising.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously huge music career, um, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She won 8 Grammys, but in the world of like movies and stuff, obviously like a huge impact as well. Like she, I think the biggest thing obviously is Mad Max Thunderdome, Beyond Thunderdome. She was Anti-Entity and did the songs for that movie. And then the theme song for Goldeneye, which I think is a favorite for both of us.
We grew up a lot with it.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know it was about a satellite.
She was also in Tommy, the Who, like the adaptation of like the Who's like rock opera. She had a movie about her, like she had a movie based on her. What's Love Got to Do with It?
Did she star in it?
No, it was Angela Bassett that played her.
I feel like half of that movie could have been her. Like she could have just
Probably,
been
yeah.
the next era of the movie.
Just like Howard Stern it, like parts it, just like play yourself in your movie.
I forgot Howard Stern was in his own movie about his own biography, and he was playing all the roles basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then I forgot Howard Stern can kind of act, so like Tina Turner can act. I'm surprised she wasn't doing more with that, but I think she kind of stepped out of the limelight like the mid 2000s, just to sort of like age gracefully, or just sort of retire.
Yeah, her last music video was 2020.
Oh, that's still not bad. Like she still was doing what she loved.
Mm-hmm. Oh, another movie role was Last Action Hero. She was the mayor.
Yeah.
The mayor of Los Angeles.
That was a fun cameo role from her.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. So R.I.P. to all three of them. Hopefully don't lose any other like huge like any of our favorites or any of like hugely influential people until next podcast.
Not like I mean just back to back is always like terrible.
Yeah.
It's like what comes in threes. It's kind of madness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's been a while since we had like to talk about people like passing away too, because like it's been like
I feel like
weeks or months. Yeah, it's been a couple months or like a month or two since anyone like this big passed away. So, but yeah. So moving on to other news, we got some trailers to talk about, and we got the first trailer this week for Skull Island, which is the next chapter of the MonsterVerse. It's the animated series coming to Netflix. Basically like a month from now on June 22nd, and I think it's set like sometime before Skull Island or after Skull Island. I don't think they've specifically said like what the time frame is, but it's basically there's like a group of explorers that show up on Skull Island and they have to like deal with all the creatures and Kong, but it seems like maybe they team up with Kong to like fight the other monsters.
I feel like if it's before Skull Island, it would be kind of weird because it's like Kong knows what humans are, and then he still actively tries to mess with them.
Yeah.
Even though he befriended a couple of them.
It might maybe it's like a post Skull Island like Monarch mission or something, or some other group gets
post. Post makes more sense, but if it's pre, just sort of like so he was a good guy and then became a bad guy.
There's a lot of time between Skull Island and like Godzilla vs Kong. Like there's like decades to explore between those two movies in like the MonsterVerse timeline.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but wait. By the time he fights King Kong, he's been captured already, right? Like he in Skull Island, was he captured or just hangs out?
There was like Skull Island almost got wiped out because of like Ghidorah's like mass like the storm systems that he created around himself. And then they built like a biodome basically around Kong to keep him like isolated from everyone. Cause I think there was also the thing in like the Godzilla vs Kong like credits was that like Godzilla just went around and just like fucking murdered everyone else, like because there's just like that like the credits are just like Ghidorah defeated, like this one defeated, like so like Godzilla just went around and just killed anyone that would be a threat to him.
He killed all his friends though.
Yeah. That was like a weird thing of like, weren't they like bowing to him as like their like alpha god like at the end of like King of the Monsters? Then he just like was like, oh, I'm gonna kill all of you because you could challenge me.
Well, I guess it's sort of just ensuring his throne.
Yeah.
But kind of a dick move there, Kong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Godzilla.
And a lot of people pointed out that, or like I've seen some comments about this animated show. Like it definitely has vibes of like that like Godzilla, like the Godzilla '98 like animated series, where it's gonna be like it's like this team of humans teaming up with like, in that show obviously it was Godzilla, now this is Kong, and like team up to fight other monsters. And it's coming from Powerhouse Animation, which brought us Castlevania and Blood of Zeus on Netflix. So at least we know like the animation style is gonna be pretty good.
I always forget Blood of Zeus is a thing. I watched like 3 episodes and I just forgot about it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm assuming that got canceled because it only lasted like 1 season. So, but I don't think they ever like officially were like, oh yeah, that's canceled.
I was wondering if they got to a conclusion or did they just like, yeah, see you next season.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'll definitely check out this show when it hits Netflix next month. I mean, anything with the MonsterVerse, I'll check out. And then we also got the first trailer for Hijack, which is a new Idris Elba Apple TV Plus thriller miniseries. That's also going to debut in June 28th. And Idris Elba is playing a passenger on a train that's on a 7-hour flight to London, and the plane gets hijacked, and then apparently like Idris Elba is like he's like a business negotiator, but then they're like he's like trying to use his skills to like negotiate like with the hijackers, like, hey, like let us go, or like calm down, or like don't start killing people. Or
I
whatever.
didn't know he was a business negotiator. I thought he was like a tactical negotiator.
That's what the description for the show says. He's a like top tier business negotiator.
Like what, like corporations?
Like a corporate, like a corporate negotiator or something.
I didn't know that's what. I thought he was like, because even his wife and kid was like, he's the right man for the job. I was like, oh, maybe he's like at his day job, he's a cop negotiator or something. It's like,
yeah.
Nope.
Or he's like
a business guy.
You think he'd be like an air marshal, or he's like a military or something. But then it's like weird because like he like seems to have like a lot of like tactical skills of like passing messages and like having people gear up to like fight the hijackers and stuff.
What is happening in the corporate world with that was like something he picked up on the job.
Yeah, you can use your a seatbelt as like a brass knuckle, like wrap that around your fist.
That's how I negotiated the Doritos Locos Tacos.
Yeah.
Because we beat up the competition.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm just like, from the trailer, you would not think he's a just corporate business negotiator. You think he's some sort of like, I don't know, militant background guy. Maybe he is, and it's just the corporate negotiation is just like secondary skill. But they really bring it up front that he's gonna negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
But then his negotiation is there's 300 people, and then like 6 people hostages. You do the math, and then it's like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
They gotta shoot this plane down. Oh, but then they added in a little layer in the trailer, which I think was a little unnecessary because it spoils something. But that like it's a bigger conspiracy. Like they say that in the trailer. Like it's not just about this hijacking.
Yeah. I feel like the bar has been set pretty high for like plane action stuff this year by Plane, the Gerard Butler movie. So like I don't think this is gonna be as crazy as that, but it still looks kind of pretty like an interesting like maybe like thriller show. It's gonna be a mini series. I don't think they've said how many episodes it's gonna be, but it'll be on Apple TV Plus in the next month.
I hope the show doesn't just jump straight into the negotiation. I kind of want there to be some of the corporate world that you just mentioned, or like where it comes from.
I wonder if that time thing is gonna factor in because like the trailer keeps saying like, oh, like hours to destination or whatever. Like if it's gonna be like 24, where it's like each episode is like an hour or something, or each because it's like a 7-hour flight. If it's like or if it's like a 7-episode show or something.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
That would be interesting. Basically, how we get our 24 back.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then last year this week is we got the trailer for The Flood, which is kind of combining 2 different genres. There's like the kind of like police station under siege genre that we saw in like Assault on Precinct 13, or like speaking of Gerard Butler, Cop Shop last year, the Joe Carnahan movie, with like creature attack, like definitely like Crawl is basically the most recent example. But it's basically Crawl was like the like where like it was like in like the basement of the house, it was like flooding, and then like Kaya Scodelario from like the last Pirates movie and like some other stuff was like had to like figure out a way to like get out of the house because there's like alligators swimming around in the basement.
Oh, I thought I dreamt that. It was like not a real movie for some reason.
Yeah, I mean that was yeah. If you haven't seen Crawl, check it out. It's actually a pretty fun, solid like creature movie. And the flood is basically so it's basically a police station that is being flooded during like a big massive storm, but then alligators get in, so then you got the cops and the prisoners having to like kind of work together to like not be devoured by alligators. And it stars Nikki Whalen, Casper Van Dien, and Louis Mandylor. And it looks like it could be some like some schlocky fun, like Cop Shop meets Crawl, like like people get like always like people get devoured by alligators, which is always a good time. Also, or it's like Hard Rain or something. It's like like
Yeah, Hard Rain, but it's all one location.
Yeah, and then there's alligators because there was that would if Hard Rain was missing anything, it was alligators or some sort of creature.
Well, weren't they like? Were they in Louisiana?
For Hard Rain,
Yeah.
I think it was it was definitely it was somewhere in the south where they get like
bayou.
hurricanes. Yeah.
And then they just totally didn't have wildlife.
But yeah, so the flood's going to be July 14th in theaters and on video on demand, so you can check it out either way when that comes out. And then actually kind of keeping it in trailers, but we've gone to like video game trailers. There was a big PlayStation showcase this week that showed off a ton of games. And definitely the biggest thing was that they had a big like 10-minute long gameplay reveal for Spider-Man 2, which I think is a game that we're both highly anticipating, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
So they showed Craven, who's gonna be the main villain, who is coming to New York to get get the ultimate prey, which includes Spider-Man, both Spider-Men, Miles and Peter, and the Lizard, who was real this trailer as well. And they showed off kind of like what the gameplay is going to be, where it's like you'll switch between Peter and Miles for like different segments. So like you'll play as Peter, and then like I'm not going to be able to get across the city in time, so I'll call Miles and have him do it, and then you switch to Miles. But I think this said it's not going to be it won't be co-op. It's going to be like just like you switch. It seems like more like like GTA 5. I don't think you can do it. I'm not sure you can do it at will. It's gonna be like certain. It's gonna be like it's just because then the gameplay reveal it popped up to like switch to Miles and press square. So
yeah, GTA did that for certain missions, and then when the game flips for a few times, it wasn't at will until the end of the game.
Well, yeah, because it was like you GTA 5, you slowly met each of the three characters, then you could, and it's like, oh, you've played as all three of them now. Now you can switch between anyone you want. But I mean, it looks like the same great like action, like that crazy like river like chase piece looked amazing. Peter's in the black symbiote suit.
And it does remind me of Web of Shadow. And that game never die.
Yep. But yeah, so Peter's got all kinds of new like symbiote powers. He's also like way more angry, so he's like it's like really like taking people down, like beating them down. And then Miles has a bunch of new powers. Yeah, I mean it looks great. I mean both the previous games have been amazing, so I have no doubt this is gonna be amazing. And it's going to be this fall on PlayStation 5. It's going to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. So you might, if you haven't got a PlayStation 5 yet, you might need to start looking into one if you want to play Spider-Man 2. And I know the other huge thing they revealed was the trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which is a remake in the vein of like Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, like Capcom. Yeah, like it's a remake of the Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, which is it's gonna be interesting to see. Like, I mean, the trailer looked great, but I mean, it was just like a CG trailer. But like, how like can they do it without Kojima? Because obviously he is not at Konami, and the last game like Metal Gear game without Kojima was I think a lot of people consider like one of the worst games ever made, Metal Gear Solid Survive.
Oh yeah. Like I did not play it. I just saw it, and then the more I learned about it, the more I hated it.
Yeah.
This I have a little bit of hope for, just because I feel like they learn from their mistake. But if they don't, then they're just never gonna make Metal Gear Solid games.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, hopefully, if it's even like half as good as like, the Resident Evil remakes have been, then it should be pretty good. And they're also fully like remaking Silent Hill 2. So Konami's already like working on one of these. Then this is gonna be the second one of like what they're like big like properties that gets like a full big remake.
But that's a problem. It's like they're doing both at once, and Silent Hill 2. Some people had doubts that it'd be any good. Like there's some people with legitimate claims that it feels like a rush job just to kind of cash in a nostalgia and without the risk of making a good new version, a new like game.
Mm-hmm.
This they're doing it like ultra safe, but I kind of prefer if they just redid Metal Gear.
Well, there's a new collection coming with like they're not remakes, but like they're like I think probably remasters, and you get all three of the original games, and like you get 1, 2, and 3 in a new collection.
I'm okay with collection. I just want a remake of the first Metal Gear, just so I can play that game and picture
another full remake, because we got like, was it Twin Snakes was a remake?
No, that's Metal Gear Solid. I'm talking about Metal Gear.
Oh, Metal Gear, like the NES game.
Yeah, give me that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I want Metal Gear, because it's like, as much as the people talk about Solid, that's what people kind of knew the franchise, but I knew it from Metal Gear, and it's like, it's rough to play.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the NES make of it. If you play the MSX version, you go, wow, these are slightly two different games. But like, I played the port of it, and it's just like, oh, I kind of wish this story was told with what we know now from the Kojima storytelling and all that. Can we start piecing things together so it's coherent?
Mm-hmm.
Did you play Metal Gear Solid 5?
I played a little bit of like the what was like the separate like prologue thing. Like was it Ground Zeroes?
No, Ground Zero.
I played that a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, not to spoil it, but like, it ties in when it comes full circle to some degree. That's why it's like, oh, the only thing missing for the whole complete package in the modern storytelling of it is if they remake Metal Gear now.
Mm-hmm.
That takes place 10 years after the events of Phantom Pain. So, I want that. So we're going straight back into the Big Boss era.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm just saying, we've been playing the Big Boss era for the last 8 years now. Maybe more.
I wonder who they're gonna get to voice like Big Boss in this one, because are they gonna get Kiefer back, or like are they gonna try to get David Hayter back? Would David Hayter even want to come back if Kojima's not there? Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the relationship's like now.
Yeah. Just get Michael Ironside to totally screw with people. Like, but yeah, so yeah, Metal Gear Solid Delta is I don't think they even said a date. It's coming soon. So
people just said it's not a pachinko game.
Yeah. At least Konami's making games again. because there was a time where there's like, well, they're like, are they ever gonna make it? Ever gonna make games again? But yeah, so those are definitely the biggest thing, and like lots of like other like bunch of other PlayStation stuff to get excited about for the rest of this year and beyond. And we also got news this week that Moviepass is officially back, like a zombie. It you can try to get it's pay to see movies again. So it is now available. You can go to their site. You can sign up for your new Moviepass card, and it's gonna work in 4,000 theaters around the U.S., including AMC and Regal and Cinemark. Which like AMC was like way like AMC was so against Moviepass like originally that that's why they made like their like Stubbs A-list, yeah. But apparently they don't mind this new Moviepass. So it's going to be, there's 4 different tiers of Moviepass, the new one. There's one that starts at $10 a month, all the way up to $40 a month. And the $10 a month one, you get to see 1 to 3 movies. And I think it's basically like a credit system. So like you earn credits, and then you like use those credits to like get tickets. So that like that's like depending on how many credits you get, that's how many like free movies you get, I think is how it works. And I think you get credits for like watching ads or like doing other things in the app. Like,
what, really?
Yeah, I think so. And then it goes up to like the $40 a month is you could potentially see up to 30 movies a month, one a day. They're all 2D screens. You can't use Moviepass, this new Moviepass right now, for 3D or IMAX or anything like that. It's just regular theaters for all. Doesn't matter what the planet is. And yeah, and it's based on MasterCard. So it's basically anywhere, if any of the theaters that accept MasterCard should accept the new Moviepass. And your Moviepass card is going to be like a MasterCard debit card, basically.
You
never did it when like originally.
I never did it. Did you?
Yeah. I did like that year, like the first like couple months of like when the Moviepass launched, that like $10 a month like unlimited just go nuts plan was probably like one of the best like movie going like years of like ever, because it's just like it's just like you go see whatever you wanted. You could see like 10 movies a day if you wanted. Like it didn't matter. Like there's no limits. Like any theater. Like I was just going like crazy. Just like, all right, I'll see this. Like I'll see this. I'll see this.
That was back when they had like good movies too.
It was when it was like Mission Impossible Fallout.
Wasn't that a movie you couldn't see?
That was when they started, like, we found out later because they basically had ran out of money and they couldn't afford like the servers. They had like figured out the money to keep the servers going. But yeah, they were like, it was like, I forget if they like blacked out Mission Impossible Fallout or it was like, oh, it's currently unavailable. Your theater's booked up, or like they give us a, or they just like kick people out of the app and said the app wasn't available. But yeah, basically by that point, like whatever, like in like June or July of like whatever year that was, like 2018 or whatever it was, like they basically had no money. And then after that they started doing like you had to take pictures of your receipts, and you had to like you were restricted to like you can only see like certain movies, certain. Basically after Fallout came out, it was like that's when it started going downhill of like, oh, now we're being restricted. We're like, it's like the all you can eat buffet is gone now.
Wow. Yeah, I remember it falling apart because it was like, I remember around the time they did the schedule where it was free for like these hours, and you had to go there that day. Like you couldn't book ahead.
And they started doing it like, oh, you can only see this movie in certain theaters, and yeah, it was they're basically trying anything they could to like stop, because they basically had to try to stop like the people who were like going to like a movie a day, like the power users,
You.
because like I saw like one a week. That was I like that was like I wasn't going totally crazy, but there were
I
like
mean, that's normal, but I'm saying like
yeah.
even then, the average moviegoer is like me, who sees a movie like once every uh 2 months maybe.
Well, it was, I mean, it was insane because it was like if you see you're paying $10 a month. If you see two movies, it's already paid for itself for that month, and then anything else over that is like you're just like they're basically Moviepass is basically giving you money to like go to the movies.
Yeah,
Like
you have to see at least 2 movies like a month to get your
yeah,
money's worth. Regal's doing that. Regal has a version like that
yeah.
where they
All
do like an unlimited for a certain amount. So you see 2 movies. It's like $19 a month. So you see 2 movies a month. You really get your money's back. Maybe it's more. Maybe it's like 2 movies every 3 months or something like that. I'm sorry. I'm saying it like gives you 2 unlimited movies. Yeah.
yeah. I'm looking at the like I'm just on the list like their site to like showing all the movie theaters. Yeah, a lot of AMC. If you have an AMC next to you and you don't want to pay for Stubbs A list, which I don't know I don't know which one's the best deal. I mean, if you're going to AMC all the time, I'd say by Stubbs A list is the the better deal.
Yeah,
But
I would say that just because A-list is actually not bad if you do see if you see a lot of movies.
yeah, lots of like Cinemarks and Regals and like the big if you're going to big chains a lot, there is a lot of like uh like movie passes like of like you can use it in like most all those. So but yeah, I'm definitely gonna wait and see see how this goes. I'm not like itching to jump back in to movie pass.
You want to give them your money like you did last time? Well, I feel like you got your money's worth from what the
Oh,
story.
I definitely got my money's worth when it was like the crazy like all you can like eat like plan. But yeah, you can go to moviepass.com, and if you want to sign up, you can check out the plans, and if you want to try it out, it's out there right now. Just in time for Memorial Day weekend. So, and then last bit of news this week is we got some news out of Cannes because the Cannes Film Festival is going on. Like a lot of people, tons of movies are getting bought. One of the movies that jumped out for being bought was Ice Road 2. Road to the Sky, which is the sequel to the Liam Neeson Netflix movie, action movie.
Does it star Liam Neeson?
I believe Liam Neeson is back, yes, as his character, Mike McCann, and the big news is that it's Amazon Prime Video has bought the rights, the international rights at least. So, like outside of the U.S., it'll be an Amazon movie. It won't be a Netflix movie, and they got those rights for $17 million.
Okay, seems like a lot.
Yeah, it seems like a lot for a the sequel to like a like Netflix. So pretty well people were like, that was fine. That was a decent movie. But apparently this new one is that Liam Neeson's back. He travels to Nepal because his brother, like his brother, who I think died in the first movie, spoilers, wanted to be buried or have his ashes scattered on like Mount Everest. So Liam Neeson gets on a bus to like that goes up to like it's like the road to the sky. That's what it's called. Like to go up to like near the like into like the Himalayas, and then a group of like Nepalese mercenaries take over the bus, and then he has to like basically like die hard them, like start fight them and like save the passengers. So it's even crazier than the first movie, which is already crazy with like mercenaries trying to like kill these ice road truckers. Now he's basically in like Far Cry 4 or something.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. He's there for other reasons, and
yeah.
then it's not even that they're there to kill him. He just happens to be on the same bus. Oh, it's interesting. Wasn't Ice Road? Because I saw parts of it, but uh, wasn't it that he had a team with him, not just himself?
It was him and Lawrence Fishburne and a man like Aaron Midthunder from Prey, and because it was like a convoy of trucks. They had to bring like this special like drilling or like like drilling equipment to this mine because this mine collapsed, and they had to drive this mining equipment to the mine to like rescue the miners. And then there was like the evil like corporate like CEO of the company like wanted them to fail because it was like their like
Business if
negligence.
they got it through.
Yeah, like, because like their negligence caused the cave in. So it's like, well, and the miners like figured it out. So it's like, oh, if they get rescued, they'll tell everyone that we're like our company's horrible, and so we need to kill them, make sure they die. And then like yeah, he hired like a group of like mercenaries to, like try to kill like because there's like guys on like snowmobiles like trying to like, kill them and stuff. Like yeah, I just got like crazy. Like so, but yeah, if you're a fan of Liam Neeson in that movie, yeah, he'll be back. And if you're outside the U.S., you can watch it on Prime Video.
Does that mean it's off Netflix, the first one, then?
I think. Well, I think the same. I think Amazon had the same deal for the first one. I think Netflix had the U.S. like the domestic rights, like United States and Canada, and then Amazon had like the UK and like international rights. So I think they just like basically paid for the rights that they had before. It seems like maybe Netflix will like keep it like will have it again unless Amazon buys like the entire rights and like buys like all the rights to like globally or something. But yeah, we'll to see. It's coming sometime. I think it's being written right now, or they're working on it right now. So, and that'll do it for news this week. So why don't you jump into show and tell? And Chris, you and I both watched 2003's The Italian Job for our latest Everything Action commentary, which is up on the site right now. You can download that and watch the Italian Job with us. Celebrating its 20th anniversary, because it came out in May 2003. And it also kind of tied into Fast and Furious a little bit, like Fast X, because the Italian Job co-starred Charlize Theron and Jason Statham, who are both Fast and Furious regulars, and then it was directed by F. Gary Gray, who directed Fate of the Furious. So yeah, some crossover with Fast and Furious, so we got a little bit of tie in there.
Yeah. It's definitely like people were cautious about it, even we were, because I think the original is very well known, and it was that era of like reboots that kind of kick-started off like remaking famous like action movies.
Well, there's a lot of like movies within TV shows, and then then they started like kind of like looking at like older movies and like what could we remake like 60s and 70s movies.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Michael Caine version is definitely like a classic, like a cult classic. Like there's like so many like iconic lines, and like the opening is like famous because like this like crazy POV shot for like an entire song, and like the little like cliffhanger ending.
Which
But
you think they'd get resolved in a remake or something to kind of tie in the series. Just nope.
I mean, the 2003 version though is like a very solid like heist action movie. Like it's not like it doesn't like recreate anything. Like it doesn't do anything like totally crazy original or anything or like inventive. But like if you just want a solid heist movie with like some cool like practical stunts and some cool like Mini Coopers driving around places they shouldn't be, like it's fun.
Yeah.
Like a great cast who are like weirdly like
A
I feel
diverse
like,
cast.
yeah.
I feel like every character felt like a different character. They weren't just, Jason Statham with hair and Jason Statham with a wig, or like with a hat. Like they
Yeah.
felt like this is a crew.
I feel like you mentioned in the like commentary though, but like especially like Mark Wahlberg and Jason Statham, I feel like they're like being like a little bit restrained or like they weren't like unleashing their full like Stathamness or Wahlbergness, like because like Mark Wahlberg feel like he's like really trying to like restrain his like Boston accent, like he's not going full Wahlberg.
Yep.
And then Jason Statham is like not like also kind of like more restrained than normal.
Yeah, there was a degree of like character, like they try to be other characters.
Yeah.
And I mean, for Mark Wahlberg, that probably took a lot of restraint because he still bled in. Just like you could have told me this is from another movie. Like there's so many things about his character that like we just don't know. Besides the beginning, that he's an operator.
He's like he's
and
like a tactical genius. Like
yeah, but then we don't know like his history. We don't know like his previous experience. It's just sort of like, yeah, I'm just good. Like he seems like he was always in charge, and that's something that is a Mark Wahlberg thing. There's no curve. The only time there is a difficulty was when they're trying to fake being the cable company.
Yeah. Mm.
Everything else was smooth. Like like
Well,
there wasn't really that many surprises.
I do love that like they so they have to, like they're trying to like get like Edward Norton, who's like the bad guy. They're trying to break into his home so they can get like the layout of his house because they want to like break into his house and get the safe that he has that like might have the gold they stole from all of them.
They spent a lot of time in that act.
Yeah. But then like obviously like as most heist movies do, like something goes sideways and then it's like Charlize Theron was like undercover, like trying to like undercover as like the cable technician. But
cable technician.
Well, it was crazy because like they had like another like supermodel-esque like cable technician like that like they're like, well, you need to just infiltrate her, like we'll take her uniform and you can like infiltrate as her. But it's like cable companies in Los Angeles like full of just like models who like go like do like cable work.
These beautiful hardworking people with white collar jobs, blue collar jobs, I guess.
Yeah, blue collar jobs. Yeah.
Doing service gigs in LA. I get it, it's LA, but it's this ultra fantasy LA.
Yeah. And then like Edward Norton asked her on a date, and then they try like they basically like, oh yeah, we'll set him up on a date, and then we'll set him up, and then we'll go break into his house, but then like there's like they can't do what they want to do, so then they send Charlize Theron to the date anyway. But then they like, my favorite part is all of them just show up. They're like, "Ha, we're here!" Like,
just beat the crap out of them there.
They totally blow their element of surprise. Which I think they mentioned at one point, like, oh, like the one thing we have going is that he thinks we're dead, and then they like blow that advantage.
They do that really quick.
But then also it might have been part of the plan because it's like a heist movie. It's like, oh, I had that plan, but that was like I was thinking you would think that I would do that, so I'm gonna do this. But then you think I would do that, so I'll do this. Like
it did become a Rick and Morty son of a bitch I'm in moment.
Yeah, especially the end where like everyone is just like, oh, he's doing this, so we gotta go, we'll head over here, and then oh, that's how he's doing, we gotta do this. Like,
oh, the what was it, Pepsi truck? The
Pepsi blue truck.
Yeah, I forgot to use that in the promotional piece to say like
this movie,
the vital.
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
I'll say like the important vital piece to the heist was the Pepsi blue truck.
Well, it was crazy because it was just like, oh, this is just like product placement. But then it plays a pivotal plot point of like that's how they like that drops down to like hide the truck that they just stole, or like blew through the street. Like the Pepsi Blue billboard drops off this truck.
Not even in a like, oh, hey, that happened to be a truck. Like, it was strategically placed there
Yes,
to show
like
the full
Mark
product.
Wahlberg and his crew like specifically found that truck that was like advertising Pepsi Blue and rigged that like billboard to crash down so it would hide the hole they like blew in the like out Los Angeles street.
Well, now I'm wondering, did they find a Pepsi Blue truck like abandoned? It's like, hey, no one's buying this product, or did they happen to like steal a Pepsi Blue truck and blend it in because Pepsi Blue was insanely popular? Let me tell you, in 2003, Pepsi Blue was not popular.
I mean, that was like probably, I mean, it was 2002 to 2004 it was when it lasted, so it was right in the middle of like its like lifespan.
That was the peak.
Yeah, that might have been the peak. They had like whatever I forget what it was. It was like their website had like it was like Papa Roach or something on their like website. You could like go and like listen to like these like new metals bands and like, yeah, we're gonna be at like Ozfest or whatever. Like Pepsi Blue is
This trend's
sponsored
never
this
gonna
booth.
die. Spike up your hair.
Yeah. Save enough Pepsi points to get a chain wallet. Like, yeah, this the tail job, 2003 tail job is very 2000, early 2000s. Like the soundtrack, like the constant like Seth Green saying like constantly talking about how he invented Napster, like he's the true creator of Napster.
Also, did you notice that the movie lacks like a real soundtrack? Besides one or two songs with lyrics, the rest is just generic like
It's
house techno.
It's very like 2000, early 2000s, just like like it's
Like almost like royalty free music.
yeah. I think there was a joke like back in the day, like Giant Bomb was like when they used to watch like the like like the old like demo discs, like Xbox demo discs and like E3 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's like they like had a disc from like that era, and it was like every single trailer was just like the same, like literally the same song, just like playing, just like same generic, just like house techno, like drum and bass stuff. Like
Yeah, it's hypnotic, but
that was just the sound of the era. But yeah, it's fun. Definitely, it's on Paramount Plus or Showtime. You can you can grab there and sync up the commentary with it and watch along with us. And Chris, you see anything else besides the Italian Job?
yes. To kind of counteract all that action we witnessed, I went hard into the like kind of dark comedy horror.
Okay.
And I watched the Re-Animator movies, specifically the first two in the 80s to 90s era of Re-Animator. The amazing Jeffrey Combs playing Herbert West's Re-Animator, a modern take on the classic H.P. Lovecraft version. And I did not know it was a H.P. Lovecraft story as a kid. I just kind of understood this franchise
it's a very
thing.
It's a very loose adaptation.
And it's hard to go back because I still don't know what the original Re-Animator is. I think it's just a person with like a miracle.
Well, I think it's
formula.
I think there's still a serum, but like it's definitely like it's like much more like like he's in like medical school, and then it's like I think it's more like Victorian or like early like 1900s style, and like he's like paying like grave robbers to, like steal bodies for him, and
Well, this one I think because I grew up with the Re-Animator series, like this version. I've seen bits and pieces, but it's been a long time since I sat and watched them through. And yeah, definitely the first two movies are a perfect example of that adult humor and gore that they really don't make quite as well these days. It's campy when it needs to be. It's bloody and gross when it needs to be, and it feels like at times almost feels like a trauma movie because of how like basic the makeup and what they need to do with what they have feel. They put together, but it's just like a perfect like 80s campy low budget movie that doesn't feel too low budget until you see like the flaws. Like the first movie has that.
Mhm.
But for those who haven't seen this, it's just about a medical student named Herbert West who invents a serum that brings back the dead or can do these like horrific side effects if you take it, which they don't explain in any other series, but I think like in this movie they sort of use it. It's never like brought up as a problem. Because Herbert West takes a few like injections of his serum so he can stay awake and keep his body going and just like keep experimenting. I thought that would come back. Like I kind of forgot that was a thing. He treats it like a drug habit, but yeah, it's just sort of like he never brings it up again for the rest of the movie or in the sequel. It just, hey, you inject the like this glowing goo in you, and he's like, yeah, I use it as caffeine basically. So okay, there's other properties to the goo. But the idea is that he can reanimate the special serum can reanimate dead tissue. Well, primarily he can reanimate brain activity. They kind of do explain the science a little bit.
Yeah.
Where if whatever the sample is fresh enough, you can reshape the brain, like the brain pattern. So that I think that was interesting idea. And then it's Herbert West is trying to challenge the I guess the notion of like conquering death and what really is like can you bring back someone from the dead? And the first two movies do explore that, and it's fun. It's interesting because Herbert West does have like a sound argument at times where he mentions that like he's not becoming a god, but he's defying the rules of science that God set forth. Like like the way he says it's sort of like mad. It's definitely a madman like motto, but I kind of get it. I kind of understand where he's coming from. Where it's like, oh, why can't we rewrite life? Like, who says we can't? In the second movie, though, one character who happens to be religious sort of says something, and it's just like, all right, and it's just tossed aside. But in the first movie, no one counters him. There's besides the guy he ropes in, played by Bruce Abbott, who happens to be another medical student in Arkham in Massachusetts, who that's where Herbert just gets a residency in, and then it's a learning hospital, which is interesting because like basically Herbert West and this other guy are supposed to be, I don't know, like their 20s. They do not look like they're in their 20s. Like Jeffrey Combs looks like he's been 40 forever. So it's weird because I have to remember this is an era where there wasn't really any reliable 20-year-old actors, so everyone's an older actor playing younger people. But then you have a villain in this, and that was Dr. Carl Hill, played by David Gale, and he is a Christopher Lee knockoff. Like he just has the look and the build and the voice that it just like if Christopher Lee needed like a stunt double or a stand-in, this guy was it.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Carl Hill, I again don't know the original source material, but he has the power of hypnotism. It's implied. They show you a lot of visual kooky stuff, but they don't explain how he's good at it. His powers don't make any sense because he doesn't do anything that's different. He just looks at you, and then certain characters get hypnotized. And so Dr. Hill has a creepy crush on Bob Abbott's character's fiance, Daniel Kane. So the fiance is Megan Halsey, who I didn't realize I've seen her in a lot of other things. It was one of those like connections where I've seen her in movies. She's been in a lot of like campy horror movies like Puppet Master, and then what else? Like Creepshow and Into the Dark series
Mm-hmm.
and Hulu. So it's one of those like, like this is her. It's like one of her early breakout roles that just allow her to be a horror girl where she screams, she gets topless, she is trying to be the voice of reason to everyone. But yeah, she does a lot in this movie where pretty much where Jeffrey Combs and Bruce Abbott, they play like scientists getting kind of exploring further into science. She plays the person who is like, guys, like I don't know what we're messing with, but we have to stop, and it's getting out of control. But she doesn't. Her reasoning is just like, don't do it. You know, there's no like, you shouldn't do this. It's just like, I think this is a bad idea, and does get kind of annoying. But it's supposed to be like purposely. You know, she's supposed to be out of everyone we're meeting, she's the grounded person because you basically have a mad scientist, creepy old man, and then you have two guys who are just, I don't know, injecting whatever they can get their hands on that has freshly died to bring back to life, and it goes horribly wrong all the time. And I get it. It's like they don't quite know they just got to that point of the research of the serum where whatever they're bringing back hasn't exploded, because in the first opening act, Herbert's original formula just explodes this dead person. So they don't really explain the science behind why they're refining it, but they're just kind of like, Herbert West gets very into injecting it and just taking notes. And there's this fun thing about him where he's like, when he sees all the weirdness, he started making comments and telling his assistant guy to make a note of it, and then like, hey, like we should probably fix this, but later on we gotta run another experiment. So Jeffrey Combs plays that role perfectly. The maniacal science guy who disregards humanity and is all about the pursuit of understanding the science. And it's one of those things where it starts with him trying to get there first, to pretty much prove everyone wrong. And then it kind of goes into I want to be the best, and I also want to be the first, because he's worried that Carl Hill, the other doctor, is going to just take the formula and claim it as his own. And then it's a weird idea for this guy to do that because he doesn't quite understand how it works, but he's like, well, I should kill everyone else that knows about this and then just do my own freaky stuff. But the thing is, what Herbert West did wasn't even controllable. It was sort of just like, I don't know, let's just keep, it's an experiment. So who knows what the weird side effects there are? Like, I guess I don't know, the more I say it out loud, the more I'm like, oh, I get it. They're supposed to be like the same kind of crazy guy where they're not like, this isn't ready. But at least Herbert's trying to keep his secret. Carl Hill is trying to clean house at the same time and steal this formula, but I don't know. It just seemed like a bad idea for a smart guy. Herbert West makes sense where he's a maniacal guy, but Carl Hill just sort of gets evil for like, because, like there's no motivation. He hasn't even been doing he doesn't even have his own version of the formula.
Mm-hmm.
So the first movie plays around. There's again, you see the movie for great effects and the silly story and just the bloodiness at the end. And the movie does reward you. The third act is just like, let's throw all the pseudoscience out the window. Let's just throw as much special effects and like silly slapstick fights as much as the money can last. And that does like a fun job, especially if you think about how, like, if you see the movie, it's a little slow in the middle. This just kicks into high gear, and now you're basically playing like a Resident Evil like mashup cutscene. So it's different. But then the sequel, Bride of the Re-Animator, it takes that slow burn, that intensity out, and instead focuses in on that last third act of explosions and like, I don't know, action. And that's the opening act. Like, that's how the movie starts. So this movie takes place in reality. This is 5 years after the release of Re-Animator. Bride of the Re-Animator is supposed to be set 8 months after the events, after this massacre that happens, where there's a lot more dead people that were dead and then like are back again and then are dead again, and everyone seems to move on in a weird way that is just like, I don't think enough time has passed where the community and the hospital this took place in, and like all these like mystery things that just like, why did this happen, are just never answered, and everyone's okay with it. In fact, Herbert West and Daniel Kane, they left for 8 months and then they're back again and they got their jobs back. Plus, I think they got even to a higher role. Like, they're no longer students, they're just doctors there. So, a lot of questions. Like, when you think that the new guy that shows up, everything goes to hell, he leaves to Peru with the other doctor and then comes back, and then you're like, oh, everything's back to normal. Nope. There's more weird stuff happening in the hospital where Herbert and Daniel Kane have been stealing body parts, like slowly cutting up dead body parts to bring back to their new home, which is a old cemetery, which I don't think you can just live in an old cemetery, but they do. Well, apparently they live in a house next to an old cemetery, an old abandoned cemetery. So they're able to get even more crazier experiments and private, like, practice, and have like this really big basement that doesn't make any sense. Like, well, they excavate it, but it leads into a medieval crypt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems like, this cemetery is weird. Why would they build like a medieval crypt like underneath this house? And it's not even like, oh, they built a big tunnel. They just like knock down like a fake wall, and then suddenly they're just like, oh, that's like cobblestone for a crypt. Like, what? So I got a lot of excusable parts about it. I don't know what's up with Massachusetts, but they just don't care. Like, zombies came back, and they're just like, anyway, like, check out the Patriots game. How about those Red Sox? Like, but the movie takes place now where the guilt of what happened is haunting Daniel, but Herbert's just like, whatever, they're actually having a good time. Herbert's just, I feel like everything's working out well for him. I don't think the sequel was originally going to be a sequel, because the way Re-Animator ends, Herbert West looks like he doesn't live. Like, one of those things where like he just falls into like a cloud, like you don't know what happens to him. But in this movie, it picks up 8 months later, and both Herbert and Daniel are like best of friends, and then they casually remark that Megan, the voice of reason, is just dead. She didn't make it from the first movie. And the thing is, her character plays a vital role, where, not a spoiler much, but her heart is still kept well. And so now they're trying to do freaky science where they want to rebuild Megan. They want to take all the body parts they've been stealing and to see if they can resurrect something with all the different organs and see what happens. So that really doesn't come to light until the halfway point, but that's the point of the movie, like, to get to the bride. Because if you don't, like, none of that is brought up until, like, you understand the goal, because it's not like that was their goal initially, too. That sort of just happens. See, in the first act, it's just more like, I don't know, let's just take body parts, we'll throw the goo on it and see what happens. And it's like, all right, well, this finger and this eyeball became one entity, so cool. So there's some really great, like, stop work for that part, and then they just stop talking about that. Then there's a whole bunch of filler subplots that show up, where a reporter from Peru, from Italy, comes to Massachusetts for a job and knows about Herbert and Daniel because they were all in Peru in this, like, Doctors Without Borders camp. And she's hanging out in their house, their creepy-ass house. And she kind of realizes what's going on and says, like, you shouldn't be doing this. This is wrong. And God is going to get mad. And that's where Herbert has his speech. Mm-hmm. Then there's another plot where a detective in Massachusetts is trying to find Herbert because his dead wife is back from the dead, and she's in a mental institution. I guess Herbert got to her, so and he let her go. So they've been experimenting for whatever time frame and letting their zombies go because they're just mentally unstable. And then Carl Hill's alive apparently, so David Cale's back, and he's just a head for most of the movie. So his big thing is that in the first movie he gets decapitated, but he's able to control his body, which doesn't make any sense, but okay. And then he still uses his head to hypnotize things because his mental pathology can still reach the undead. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the movie falls apart for me on that end. But in this movie, they just lean hard into that because now the head of Carl Hill can like tune in to other experiments that Herbert's been working on, and he can just kind of remote control them or just give them suggestions to do like his bidding. So again, that's what I'm saying. This movie has way more action and way more like intensity for the like zombie fighting than there is about mad science and the struggle of should you or should you not do this. This movie leans hard on like just keep doing it until it gets weird. And eventually it does get to a point where they do make a woman. But they make basically like a Hellraiser woman. Like like they did not spend time cosmetically well or grafting the right skin. They're just like, I don't know, this look cool. All right, they just take body parts and they don't even have like all the skin and or like know how to staple things correctly. They're just like, it looks like a hot mess. But I'm surprised I haven't seen The Bride of Re-Animator in anything. Like the costume design of it is very simple and it's just like super like 90s like gothic and just hard. Like it's like, oh, like I definitely seen this movie before, but no one's ever done like a cosplay or a figurine or I mean maybe they've done a figurine. I feel like this is something Todd McFarlane would have done as a one-off series, but I just totally forgot that this was a thing. So going from this movie to the next movie without a like breather, you could feel the tonal shift in this movie. This is like everything about the first movie that they didn't focus in on, just like focusing in on heavy, like comedy. The gore, the nudity is also kicked up a little bit. Like if there's a woman in this movie, she's gonna get naked for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
So it's enjoyable. I couldn't do the trilogy. I couldn't do a third one. I was pooped out already. But that's definitely on my radar to see beyond Re-Animator. And I definitely was in the mood. The Re-Animator movies, I think you just need to be in the mood to watch like slapstick horror, and then in that level of Peter Jackson gore, it gets really close because the body effects aren't realistic by today's standards anymore. But it just has that like visceral like college student vibe and a lot of like corn syrup blood or whatever that they're using for blood stuff. Like it's a great like cinema like time capsule where by today's standard this would have all been digital, and they just go hard on the prop effect and trying to get pre CGI effects in there. There is a few terrible stop motion things happening, especially later on in the movie when they're trying to do like the body horror things, but it gets almost in that Gremlins 2 territory of, yeah, they tried their best with what they got. Like this flying creature looks kind of weird when you really focus in on it, but it's not like the main focus.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's still fun. I definitely recommend it. I haven't not seen this movie at all on cable TV, so it's just one of those like you need to go hunt down a copy. You gotta best to watch with friends who either have seen it or haven't. You know, it's a great like just horror night. It's like I'm watching it like right before summer really kicks off the heat wave, but this is definitely like a revisit movie in the fall. Another thing, I think like you need to watch the first movie. You know, you can't just Re-Animator, Bride of Re-Animator cannot be the first Re-Animator movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my big Re-Animator rant. I did watch Rogue too, the Megan Fox Lion movie.
Okay.
I forgot I watched it because I just threw it on. But I enjoyed it. It when you start looking at the plot, it falls apart. But I think you talked about Rogue, right?
Yeah, I saw it when around. I think when it was on Hulu or it's on. That's why
It's on Hulu
it's on
now.
Hulu. Yeah.
I watched it on Hulu.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it, but it's also weird comedy, action comedy, and it doesn't know what it wants to be at times. Did you get that vibe?
That it was like there's like weird comedic bits in it.
Yeah, like out of place. I don't mind it, but it's really distracting.
Well, I know like her like partner, like the
He's
guy.
just Deadpool.
Yeah, the guy from like
Law and Order.
yeah, he's in Law and Order, but he was in like what's that like it was like that Cinemax show.
Was he in Strike Back?
Strike Back. Yeah, it was him and Sullivan Stapleton were like the two dudes in Strike Back.
Huh.
And then he was on like Philip Winchester was on that one season like the Wesley Snipes show, The Player. Remember that?
Oh my god, I kind of forgot about The Player was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a fun actor. Like he looks like action hero guy, but I didn't expect him to be the funny guy.
Yeah, he was. I remember he was just like constantly just like
Cracking
making
jokes.
like jokes or like commenting on it, or be like, well, that just happened. Like.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind him, but he should be in a different movie.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when like most of like their teammates are start being picked off, and he's still like cracking jokes and stuff. I'm like, what is happening? But there's that thing where like Megan Fox trying to analyze the situation. I know you don't watch New Girl, or you didn't really watch the season where Megan Fox is a New Girl.
No.
But she feels like she's a New Girl in this one. She has this attitude of just like, are you boys done? Like, stop making jokes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's like the older sister, just sort of just like reprimanding her brothers. That's how it feels, and that's how New Girl is with her in it. Which, again, as a fan of New Girl, I was like, this is just her trying to like Megan Fox can be funny. Like, she's funny in New Girl in a like, what's the tone? Like a high school girl kind of way, you know, just sort of knowing that she is pretty but doesn't choose to focus in on it. But that's Megan Fox, you know. I feel like that's well, not these days. She is a different woman by today's standards. But in this era of her being a militant, like I think she was a Navy SEAL or Army Ranger. I think she was an Army Ranger who then became a mercenary.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. She is not used to not having control, and then the craziness of the lion sort of changes the situation. But the movie sort of tries to introduce like a new plot at the end, where you learn about like the mission for this girl turns out to be like a facade for another thing, and then the movie just has no time to explain that. Like, did you get that part too?
I mean, I saw this like.
Or
2
do you
years
remember
ago,
this?
So
Okay. Well, so basically at the end, the main villain explains that they kidnapped this girl because her father is also like a arms dealer poacher guy, and it was just a like business tactic to do this to get the other guy to like back off the business of poaching lions and whatnot. Yeah, like they bring that up and then they never resolve that. It's not even like super dramatic. It sort of just happens in this paragraph of monologuing, and then the movie never focuses back on that. Even when it ends, it's never like, oh, we gotta talk to your father about this, or like, oh, we need to figure out like how to get this to stop. They just sort of leave. Like Megan Fox and the surviving people just leave, and they don't even say anything happy. Where it's like, oh, then let's stop lion poaching, blah blah blah. Like the director of the movie has a blurb where she quotes herself on the need to stop lion poaching, and then it ends like that. And then I went online to double check what the hell I just read, and all this like backstory about this was insane. Rogue is based on a short story that the director wrote based on a conversation she had with her daughter about saving like the wildlife in Africa. I have no idea what revisions it went through before it became a action movie with mercenaries and kidnapped girls and saving lives. Like it just became like I feel this movie does feel like it's three different movies in one.
Mm-hmm.
A pissed off lion, a hostage negotiation rescue, not even negotiation, a hostage rescue mission, and then a commentary on like Muslim like understanding, because the main villain is like this Muslim cult. I say that not in just like an insult to religion, but because like this terrorist group shows up to Africa and then does terrible things to them in order to follow their very specific belief, but it's like very violent belief compared to the real like what it's based on, or thing. And even the main villain reveals that he actually doesn't give a shit about the religious aspect. He kind of does it just for the money. So as I said, they introduced so much by the end of the movie, the third act. They're like, I feel like there's another act here that they just don't have time, or like they had to write this to like please something else that they made a mistake in. Like this was the better take. So for all I know, there could have been another version of Rogue where it's aliens or something stupid like time travel, and they're just like, I don't know, we gotta really fix this.
Have you seen Beast yet?
Not yet. That's definitely on my list too.
I feel like you need to see Beast, like get your like the other like lion movie, other recent lion movie.
Well, you said that, but that movie pretty much stays in its lane, where it's like this guy fights a lion, that's it. There's no like crazy warlord involved or high-speed chases.
There's some poachers, but they're basically just there to like be like, oh, we need more bodies to throw at this lion.
That's fine. The poaching aspect is exactly what you need for these movies. You need like body count for the lion is basically just like a serial killer. Like he's just like a supernatural force. And in Rogue, they do focus in on that, but you're so distracted by the other part of the movie, at least for me, that I'm like, oh right, there's a loose lion out somewhere. And then they kind of treat the lion as like a slasher movie, figure. And then they sort of joke about it, and I'm like, this lion has murdered your friends. Like, the joke character guy sort of just like, oh yeah, the lion's still here. Like he's very nonchalant about everything that's going around with him. That I'm like, what is up with your life that you're okay with this? But yeah, this was my pre-Memorial Day weekend movie watching. I'll probably have way more to talk about after Memorial Day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Zach? You catch that Flash finale?
Yeah, I saw a bunch of TV, including this series finale of the Flash, the end of the Arrowverse. It's officially over now because there's only like 2 DC shows left, and I don't think either of them are. Well, it's weird because like Superman Lois start it felt like I think everyone was like, oh, this is in the Arrowverse, but then they like mentioned like last season, they're like, oh, we're in a different universe. So it's like, so Superman Lois is it? So it's. I mean, I guess technically it is in the Arrowverse because it's an alternate universe, but like it's not officially like the same Earth as like all the other Arrowverse shows. So by all like recently, like the Arrowverse is officially over. And I mean, I think I mentioned like the Flash like probably should have ended like a while ago because it hasn't been good. But I stuck with it just because like I was like pot committed to like seeing how it ended. I think the whole thing the whole Arrowverse should have ended with like Crisis on Infinite Earths because they just like they were never gonna top that. Like they're never gonna top that crossover. So and then it ended like the perfect way. Like and now it's a universe, and then we're gonna keep going, but like it's it's over.
Yeah, they wrote themselves into a corner.
Because none of the shows that like lasted after that were like knew what to do post Infinite Earths. They were just like we just keep going, I guess. I don't know. And yeah, I mean, yeah, season 9 of The Flash, the final season was kind of like definitely bizarre. It was shorter than normal, which was nice, but like it was also just like such a crazy mismatch of like it was like the first arc of like the first 5 episodes was like they had to fight like Red Death, who's like this another evil speedster, but then it turns out like oh it's like someone from an alternate Earth. That's like
I know who Red Death is. Wasn't it like Evil Barry?
No, it was I mean spoilers, but yeah, it was evil Batwoman from an alternate universe who got like somehow got speed powers, and then she came to.
Was it?
It was the second. It was like Javicia Leslie, like the second Batwoman.
Oh, okay. Not Ruby Rose.
No. So that was like the first like 5 episodes. They did that arc, and then there was just a string of episodes that had nothing to do with anything. It was just like all these like one-offs. It was like a Groundhog Day episode, then like an episode where it was like, oh, we're caught in like a time loop, and like or there's like a time thief that's like just like causing like weird stuff to happen like in the lab or whatever. And then there was like, I mean, probably the best episodes. I don't know. I think this says like probably more about like the state of the Arrowverse. But like the best episode of the season was the one where Oliver came back for like an episode.
Is he a time displaced version or something?
Well, so obviously in Infinite Earths he became the Spectre. So Oliver basically became like this like godlike cosmic being who like recreated the entire universe. But then in this like episode where he came back for like a day or something, it was like he can come back if like the multiverse is in danger. So there's like a threat to the multiverse, so that he was able to come back and be like, I'll help you like stop this like threat to the multiverse, but I have to go back to like whatever dimension I exist in now. But that was like easily the best episode of the whole season because it's like, oh man, remember Arrow? remember when Arrow was on? It was good. And then then it just like wrapped up with like this like kind of like another kind of weird alternate like universe timeline thing where they brought back Eddie from the first season. If you remember, like, and he like sacrificed himself to like stop Thawne because he's like Eddie Thawne, so he was like the ancestor of Thawne. But then he can't he got resurrected because of the negative speed force, and then he became a speedster, and he brought back all the other like evil speedsters, and that was like the whole thing for the last episode. So I mean, the last episode was fine. There's like a ton of a ton of people came back. Obviously, like they had to Tom Cavanaugh come back for like last episode, and like some other people you haven't seen for like they had like Teddy Sears, like the bad guy from season 2, like Zoom came back, and like
is he still evil?
Yeah, because it was like a team, like all the evil speedsters like teamed up, like Savitar, which was like voiced by Tobin Bell, but like was actually like an evil like Barry time remnant or something. But yeah, I mean that like not a bad series finale, but like the Flash just has not been the best since like for a while. I feel like it peaked in like season 1. Like that's like the first season was like so good of like they had the whole reveal of like, oh, Tom Cavanaugh is actually evil. Like he's Thawne, and that was like a big like this big twist. And they had like it had all the fun, like it was like a fun, just like, oh, it's just a one-off, like we're just gonna fight like these random rogues and villains for like the first season to like the like back half where they actually like got into like the arc. And then they just couldn't, like, it was just like, you know, the constant, just like, it's a new evil speedster who's not as good as Reverse Flash, but we can't just keep having him come back, I guess. Although they kept having to come back anyway, because they kept coming up with like these like weird, like, oh, he like right before he died, he like put himself into like the negative speed force, or like he's from like the like alternate universe timeline, or like he's like from the past or something. They just kept coming up with like weird ways of like
the Tom Cavanaugh like Thawne version, the one where like he looks like him, not the original Thawne.
Well, that was like, so the original Thawne, who's like the actual like version of Thawne, which I forget who the actor is that plays him. But he got stuck after he killed Barry's mother, or he like got stuck in the past, and then he went and killed. He has somehow he has the ability to take people. I think he brought like a gadget from the future that let him like steal someone's face or like become someone. So he killed like the Harrison Wells from like the past, and like took his face so that he like blend in and like hide for like however long. And I think also because he knew like, oh, Barry Allen's gonna end up at Star Labs, and like gets help from like, you know, the Star Labs folks like Dr. Wells and everything. So I'll become him, and then I'll train him, and then I'll train my nemesis, and I'll kill him.
So he's strong enough that I can get my Speed Force back from him.
Yeah,
I know that was the goal of season 1.
Yeah. But then they brought back, like, Tom Cavanaugh kept coming back as Thawne, but also like, oh, I think like Matt Lanter, Matt Lensher is like the other Thawne, like he also kept coming back too. So it's like those two, like there's like two different versions of Thawne, and then Matt Lensher was like good for a lot, like in a couple episodes like last season, like it was like a good version of him, but then like he like turned evil, or like he got killed by like oh no, it was like Tom Cavanaugh like burst out of him, like it's just like it was just like one of the craziest things that ever happened to Flash, but like yeah, like it's like it, like because like that was like the reveal of like Thawne is back again, like the Tom Cavanaugh Thawne, he just like bursts out of this other guy, just like body horror style.
Why did that happen?
Yeah. Who knows? They always had like some sort of like explanation. It was just it just got more and more convoluted and crazy and like nonsensical. Like there's like multiple forces. It's like the negative speed force is like one force, but then like there's like the time force and like the like strength force, and like there's like avatars for each one, and then
I got tapped out when they started getting lightsabers.
That was like the end of like season 7, I think, or one of the recent seasons. But yeah, that was like, what are we doing? Like, they're fighting. Yeah, we're having like a Star Wars prequels level fight here. But yeah, I mean it's all wrapped up. I mean. I don't know if it was worth it. There was the first couple, like the first 2 or 3 seasons of The Flash was like, or maybe the first 4 seasons were pretty good, but I mean it definitely, when it was bad, it was bad. Like, and yeah, and this last season was definitely like a weird mixed bag of like some terrible episodes, like really terrible episodes, but also some like all right ones, and then the ending was okay. So I don't know. It's just a huge mixed bag overall, but it is kind of sad the Arrowverse is now like 100% dead, because for a while there it was like really good, like especially like you know, like season 2 or season 2, 3 of like Arrow, and then like when you had like when like Legends started, when then like Supergirl came over, and the Flash was like in like the second or third season. But yeah, I think I think Crisis on Infinite Earths was just like so like that was like such a big that felt like the end game, like it was like Avengers Endgame for the Arrowverse, and it's like, and then they're kind of the same situation like Marvel's is now, where it's just like, well, we had this huge kind of like saga ending thing, and now we're just kind of like we have to continue from that, and like, what do we do to continue that?
Where do we go from here?
Yeah. But yeah, so I saw that. I also saw the first two episodes of Gremlins: Secrets of the Mogwai, which is on Max. When the day HBO Max turned into Max was when Gremlins debuted.
It's a cartoon, right?
It's an animated series. It's a prequel. It takes place in 1920 in Shanghai, and it's Sam Wing, who is Mr. Wing, like the old man from Gremlins. And this is basically like how he met Gizmo, and like then they're on like an adventure together to like get Gizmo back to like his home. Because basically,
I don't think it works out.
well, because basically Gizmo and like the other Mogwai, because they introduce like other Mogwai, they're like not like the evil like Gremlins ones that are mischievous. There's like other ones that are like Gizmo, and they live in like this like like magical valley outside, like in like the Chinese countryside. But then Gizmo kind of gets separated from because like this like giant bird attacks their like Mogwai village, and then Gizmo tries to like defend everybody, and he gets like taken away by this bird, and then ends up in Shanghai, and then ends up in like a circus. But then he find like Sam and his grandfather find him, and then they're like, well, we need to, his grandfather is like knows about like all these like magical creatures, like it knows magic, and he's played by James Hong is the grandfather. And so he's like, oh, we gotta get this Mogwai back, because he also knows like the rules, and he knows what happens if if Gremlins show up, then the whole like city's in danger.
So this has happened before that he knows about this?
It's somehow in the past of like China, in the past of, like he's like heard about Mogwai. He knows like they've a Mogwai like got turned to Gremlins, and like the Gremlins like basically destroyed cities in the past. So he's like, well, we gotta get this thing out of here. Like,
we gotta stop this.
But then there's like an evil industrialist who's played by Matthew Rhys, who like wants Gizmo, wants Mogwai, and then like end of the second episode is like, oh, I got some Gremlins now. I don't need the Mogwai. So it's not really clear like what he wants them for, because like, but he's basically like it's kind of funny because like James Hong is in the show, but like Matthew Rhys is playing basically like a low pan kind of like sorcerer guy.
Is he also Asian or just a white guy?
He's a white guy who's like kind of like taking on like
a Fu Manchu guy.
Kind of a little bit, yeah. But yeah, he's like a super powerful sorcerer. Like he has like all these magic powers, which that's like kind of the weird thing about the whole show is like it's like they introduce magic into like the Gremlins universe, like straight up like sorcerer magic. Like there's like all kinds of like spells and stuff, which they don't. I mean, obviously the other two movies like didn't have any of that in it. So it's like, where did magic vanish? Magic just like vanish by the time like the 80s came around? Like,
I don't know. Maybe the show explained that the Mogwais took the magic out.
Yeah, I mean it's only 2 episodes so far. It's gonna be 10 episodes. The animation style is really good. Like it's a unique, interesting art style, so that's pretty cool. It's a solid, fun like kid show. Or if you're a fan of Gremlins, like there's like it's fun to be like see like that, like, you know, Gizmo. Gizmo's very definitely has like a lot of like personality in the show. Like he can kind of talk a little bit. Like he has like a rudimentary, like he can say things, like he can say his name and he can say other things, and he's like very like he can gesture, and like he's like very like animated.
Now it begs the question: does he dress up like Rambo or something to the equivalent in this one?
Well, he definitely like within like the first like when the like the bird attacks like their like Mogwai village, like he's the one that kind of like jumps up and like I gotta defend everybody, and like he's like throwing rocks at it and stuff, and everyone else like is like hiding. So like he definitely has his like
leader hero.
Like I'll fight like defend fight these gremlins, fight like my evil like fight whatever's like attacking me or like attacking my friends or whatever. So
wait, so does he spawn gremlins this time himself?
yeah, I mean it's classic setup again, where like he gets water spilled on him. So now there's like at the end of the second episode, there's like 4 gremlins. And there's probably gonna be more as we move on. But yeah, he gets water spilled on him. Classic gremlins set up, and like a bunch of like evil gremlins pop out of like Mogwai pop out of them. But yeah, it seems pretty fun so far. I'll probably keep watching it. I think it's also gonna be on Cartoon Network at some point. I don't know if it's like same day as Max, because like it was like 2 episodes at Max or like afterwards, but I think it's like every like Tuesday on Max is like when episodes drop now. And then the last thing I watched is I'm about halfway through the Muppets Mayhem on Disney Plus, which is the new Muppets show that is focusing on Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem, the the Muppets house band, and like the main like Muppets band has been in like everything. And it's basically the show is basically them recording their first album, because they basically signed a contract in like the 70s, and they got like this huge like cash advance from this record company, and then they never made the album. So it's like, oh, you guys owe us an album. And there's an ambitious like young like executive named Nora who's like discovers this, and like because she's trying to like find like an act. She wants like her the record company she works for is like failing, so she's like a big act to like move with the company, but like save the company, but also like move up, and like because she wants to like move up, be like a record executive. She's basically just like an assistant when she starts out. And then she discovers this like, oh, the Dr. Teeth Electric Mayhem like owe us a record. I'll find them and get them to like record it. So that's basically the whole show, like the whole like season of the show is like her like working with the Mayhem, like and like learning like like learning about them, and them like just like doing what they do, which is just like be like super laid back and like not really like care about anything, or like or like don't, they have like no ambition to like record the album or like do anything. Like they're just like, it's cool, man, like it'll record somehow.
Well, if you remember how they were in the Muppets TV show on ABC, like they're a chill band, and it's all like, it's weird that I think like Janice and Dr. Teeth are dating.
Janice and Floyd are a couple. Floyd, who's like the bass player
with the purple skin.
He's got like purple skin, or the big like orange mustache.
Okay. I forgot, like in their band, I was like, I think Janice is dating one of those guys. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think definitely the funnest part of the show is that you like because like Dr. Teeth and the Mayhem, like they showed up in like the movies and the Muppet Show, but they usually have like one line, they have like one scene or like one bit, or they wouldn't be like the focus of the show or the movie. Mm-hmm. But here they're the focus. So you really get to like like they get to like explore them, like you get to like know their personalities, and like you get to like really like dig into like who each member of the band is, and like their backstories and stuff. So that's a lot of fun. Like you learn like Floyd like is the one who found Animal who as a baby. Like Animal just got left on like Floyd's like doorstep, and then Floyd just took him in, and Floyd's basically his dad.
Huh.
And then lots of just fun like bits like them like trying to record the album, and like Nora getting super frustrated with them because they won't because they just do whatever they want. Like there's a great running joke where like Nora will like leave like a room, or like leave like the house and come back like a super short time later, like 10 minutes later, and like the Mayhem is having like this giant party. So they it's like spontaneous like create parties. There's like one scene where like she like goes outside to talk to Dr. Teeth when they first get to like Los Angeles, and then comes back into this house, and there's a huge rager party going on that wasn't happening like 5 minutes ago. With like Billy Corgan is gonna wrestle Floyd and stuff. So, and then and obviously like it's Muppet things, like lots of cameos. Like there's like a ton of like music industry people are in it that play themselves. Which is also like a funny like running joke of like where like the Mayhem know everyone, but they just don't think about it or like don't think to mention it. Of like, oh yeah, we know like like Kesha and like Dead Mouse and like
They know like
and
pop hit people, but they
yeah,
just choose not to like utilize it.
they know everyone and everyone loves them, and it's just they just don't mention it or don't. They're just like, oh yeah, we know. They're like absent-minded, like don't remember. Like there's an episode, like probably the best episode I've seen so far is like the third episode, where like like Zed, like the big like producer and artist, like he knows them. Yeah, like he knows them, and like he's and then like they managed to like get like a like he's like, oh yeah, I'll produce your album, like we'll come to my like studio, we'll start recording, and then like he has this like crazy like high tech studio that they're not used to, and like he's like making Animal like play like this like little like electronic like drum machine thing, but then like Animal like someone like accidentally presses like the like microphone down, and they hear like I think Floyd or like someone saying like they're making a joke of like or being like oh they're no one you don't even need us anymore, like you can just record us, like you can just do everything with like these like electronically, like then Animal kind of takes it as like oh they don't need me anymore, like he gets like upset so he leaves and then it becomes like a Benihana like superstar. But that was like, and then the whole like subplot of the episode is like he keeps going to like Animal goes to like this like employment agency where like Ben Schwartz is like this like employment like person like agent trying to like get him jobs, and then Ben Schwartz is getting like more and more just like desperate and like frustrated, just like trying to like, constantly sending Animal these jobs. He's like just like blowing up, like they're trying to make him like be like a telemarketer or like a janitor and stuff. So that's like a super fun like Ben Schwartz is great. That's him and Animal. All their scenes are just like fantastic. And then like Anders Holmes in it from Workaholics. He's like this like this like Nora's ex who's like trying to develop like this like app and try to like buy like the old records company that she works for to like get all their songs into this app. And yeah, I mean, and then also Adam F. Goldberg, who created the Goldbergs before he got like he left his own show because like of like creative differences.
Wait, he left the Goldbergs?
Yeah, he left like halfway through, I think, because like the network and like he disagreed with like the direction they were going. Like they wanted to like, and that's why it got so terrible after he left, because like they wanted to make it more ridiculous and more like they want to get away from like his like like real life stuff and like having like the real character like based on his like real life. They just wanted to have like wacky sitcom like situations with like his characters. So he's like, oh, I'm out. So but he's like executive producer on it. It feels like the structure of like each of these episodes of Muppets Mayhem feels like a sitcom, like Goldberg's like early Goldberg's like setup, where it's like someone like a lot of the episodes like someone will say something or like someone will be like there'll be a misunderstanding or someone will be upset about something, but then like at the end they'll like realize what their mistake and like make up with like whoever upset them. And then the Mayhem and every episode at the end, like the Mayhem like covers like a song so far. So that's kind of similar to like Goldberg's. Like Goldberg's always done like an 80s song. Like Muppets Mayhem so far, like each episode kind of ends with like the Usher Mayhem like covering like True Colors or like Have a Little Faith in Me or like some sort of song. Which so if you're a fan of, like early Goldbergs, like it kind of feels like it has that kind of same structure of like lots of funny bits, but then also like kind of like it's like this like heartwarming dramatic kind of like ending where like everyone like makes up all their differences. Yeah, they learn a lesson, they like make up, they have like they it's like, oh man, we love each other, like so. But yeah, it's super fun so far. I would say if you're a Muppets fan, I say definitely check it out. And yeah, it's fun to like just spend like so much time with like Dr. Teeth and everyone in the Lecture Mayhem and like really like see like what their personalities and like especially like characters like Zoot or like Lips, who like you don't really like have really done a lot like Muppet stuff. Like they get like lots of like fun bits and like fun stuff here. Like Lips, who's basically like I think he's like their saxophone player. he's basically like Boomhauer from King of the Hill. Like he just like mumbles this like nonsensical like everything he says is like this like nonsensical mumbling, and everyone's just like, all right, yeah, good idea, Lips. That was good. Yep. And obviously everything with Animals great. So I mean, because obviously Animals is like one of the best Muppets. So yeah, definitely check it out if you have Disney Plus and you're a fan of Muppets. Check that out. I feel like we're on a different like upswing of like Muppet stuff, because like Haunted Mansion was great. Muppets Now is pretty good. Like the kind of like weird like
skits, I guess.
Viral video kind of like it was like all like digital. It was like Skeeter was like running like a digital like it was all like different like video shows, online shows. Which a little bit there's like a little bit more hit or miss, but like there was like really good like Pepe's Game Show and like Muppets Now is like one of the best things the Muppets has ever done. That was so funny. And then yeah, Muppets Mayhem is great too. So yeah, we're definitely most of the Disney Plus Muppet shows Muppet stuff has been pretty great so far. So definitely check that out if you have Disney Plus. And that's gonna do it for me this week. So we can wrap things up. Definitely have our site, like we mentioned. We have our Italian Job counter. You can check that out and watch that along with us. And we've got all the trailers we mentioned and news reviews and also all the other stuff we put up every week on the site. So head over, check all that stuff out. And for Chris, I am Zach, and we will see you next week. For more Everything Action, head to www.everythingaction.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @EVAction, on Facebook by searching for Everything Action, and follow us on Instagram @everything.action. You can also subscribe and get more episodes on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify.